So to talk about what we are going to do today, here's a quick overview of what you will see. First, we will give you a little bit of context on Pro Helvetia and on the foundation's focus on art, science, and technology. Don't worry, we will keep this part very short and informative. Then we will come to Synergies, to the open call, give you further insight into it, and hopefully address already most of the questions that were asked while registering to this event. We will then also present the Art, Science, and Technology Directory to you. That's a very good tool to find potential partners to sign up for the Synergies call. And then I am also particularly excited that we are joined today by some of our colleagues from the Pro Helvetia liaison offices abroad. They will also tune in, say hello, and say some things, present some examples, and say some things about their local context. And lastly, if there are still questions that have not been answered by then, we will address them during the Q&A. Can switch to the next slide, please. So before I hand over, let me quickly introduce my colleagues from Zurich, who will also be your contact persons for the Synergy calls here in Switzerland. On the very left is Leonie. She is responsible for the focus on art, science, and technology at Pro Helvetia. In the middle is Anja, and Anja is your dedicated contact person in Zurich. You can also see her email address here. And on the right, you see myself. Our colleagues from abroad will tune in later on, but for now, I am very happy to hand over to Leonie, who will say a few words on Pro Helvetia and on Pro Helvetia's focus on art, science, and technology.
Hello, everyone. I'm Leonie, and I'm pleased to briefly introduce you to Pro Helvetia and its activities. So, please, the next slide. Pro Helvetia is the Swiss Arts Council. We are state-funded, but we work independently, and we have our headquarters in Zurich. We are supporting cultural projects within different artistic disciplines. Next to our activities in Switzerland, next slide, please. We are active in various regions around the world through our global network, which contains different liaison offices in different regions. Some of our colleagues from liaison offices are here, and they will introduce themselves later. The global network builds the context of Synergies. The call was developed in collaboration with the colleagues from the global networks. The next slide, please. So co-created between different regions, Synergies emerged under the roof of the Pro Helvetia focus topic, Art, Science and Technology, which started in 2021 and will last until 2024. The focus topic, Art, Science and Technology, has different goals. Next slide, please. It aims to connect artists with actors from the fields of science and technology. It also aims to fund projects at the intersection of art, science, and technology. And further, we aim to foster the transfer of knowledge to enable collaboration at the intersection of art, science, and technology. And last but not least, the promotion of art, science, and technology projects in Switzerland, but also abroad, is one of the core goals of this focus topic. So to achieve these goals, we have several funding measures ranging from selected partnerships, special programs, calls, or the support of art, science, and technology events, which you can all find in detail on the Pro Helvetia homepage under the section of art, science, and technology. Today, I would like to only give you a brief insight with the help of two selected examples. So one example is Connect. The next slide, please. It's a funding measure within the focus of art, science, and technology, which we are realizing together in partnership with Arts at CERN, which belongs to CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research in Geneva. Connect is a residency program. It offers research-led residencies for artists. And it aims for artists to develop artistic projects together with scientists in connection with the scientific community. The program is hosted by Arts at CERN, which curates the program. In the context of Synergies, I have to inform you that organizations which are collaboration partners of Pro Helvetia, for examples like Arts at CERN, are excluded from the support of Synergies. Another example is the podcast Art Meets, which is developed from Pro Helvetia, and it contains stories of transdisciplinary collaborations told by artists and scientists. Over 7 episodes, different encounters take place around topics like astronomy, smell research, polar science, biohacking, or robotics. If you're interested in getting an insight, all episodes are available on Spotify, Google Play, and also iTunes. Then, of course, another measure in the context of the art, science, and technology focus topic is the open call Synergies. And with this, I would like to hand over to Anja for the presentation of Synergies. Please, Anja, the floor is yours.
Yes, hello, everybody, also from my side. It's my pleasure now to start presenting the Synergies call to you in more detail. Leonie, you have to mute. Yeah, thanks. I do this by answering the questions that you have sent in beforehand at the same time. So please pay close attention. Now you might get an answer to your burning question. Many questions from your side were concerning the overall funding goals. So let me explain those a little more. First of all, our goal is to foster the exchange between art, science, and technology. In order to make this exchange happen in a truly meaningful and profound way, time and resources are needed. This is why we have set up this call. We want to provide room for experiments. It's important to us that this exchange happens on eye level. Artists should not be used to illustrate research for any outreach purpose, and scientists should not just be there to explain their research and teach the artists. We look for real exchange, where artists, scientists, and engineers enter into an open, research-based and process-oriented exchange, which bears mutual fruits for all the different parties. Furthermore, we want to support existing and new international collaborations in order to connect different knowledge systems. And lastly, it's important that the topics and questions raised in the proposed programs are going to have a convincing relation to the art, science, and technology landscape, as well as to the social and geographical context in which they are going to be implemented. In this way, we are open to various concepts of art, science, and technology. All in all, you see that there's a great openness to this call, and there are no forbidden topics. We will definitely not tell you on which topics to focus, but it's of course a quality sign to your project if it raises specific relevant questions. This leads me to the next slide, the selection criteria. There will be a jury in place to select the projects that are going to be supported, as you know already, of course. They will apply the following criteria that you also find on our website. First, originality, quality, and impact. This refers to the content and questions that are raised in your program. It also refers to the qualification of the participating organizations and the people that are involved. And it refers to the impact of the program in relation to the art, science, and technology landscape of its context. Second, research and process orientation. As already mentioned, this has to be a key component of your program. We won't support any artistic production with this grant. Third, equity within the collaboration. Collaboration should happen on eye level between art and science, as I have already mentioned. And fourth and lastly, relevance. Also, I already mentioned it's important that questions and topics raised in your programs are relevant in relation to the art, science, and technology landscape and or the social geographical context in which the program is implemented. Then we received also many questions about who can apply and who is eligible for support. So here's our formula. First of all, there must be at least 2 organizations from which one has to be an artistic and cultural organization from Switzerland, which can also be active in other countries at the same time, and 1 non-Swiss organization. And these organizations should have both a convincing track record. We also received some question about the eligibility. Please refer to the website. You find all information there, but to make it very clear, here are some special cases that you ask us about. Eligibility is not attached to any specific legal status of your organization. So it can be an association or an institution, a network, etc. The organizations can be new, although I have to remind you that a convincing track record is a key criteria for the selection. The collaboration between the organizations can be new as well. Universities are eligible if the program is not part of a curriculum, if it's not the only Swiss partner, and if they contribute a significant amount to the financing. Organizations from all countries are eligible, not just those which are based in the region of Pro Helvetia's liaison offices. Individuals are not eligible only if several individuals form an organization together. But Pro Helvetia offers many funding measures for individuals. So here I would like to remind you that, for example, the Art, Science and Technology focus has a tandem funding measure for individuals where 1 artist and 1 scientist can apply together. So for Russia, we have our colleague Anton Fleurov, who will say some words later. So I will not mention this for now. And then also we received some question about eligibility of Swissnex and Swiss embassies. So they are eligible. We consider them as Swiss organizations, but not as cultural or artistic organizations. And if you have, if you want to apply together with Swissnex or Swiss embassy, please contact us beforehand so that we can, check together. So yes, that's all from my side for now. I hand over again to my colleague Leonie, who will give you some more detail about what kind of formats are supported within the call.
Thank you very much, Anja. So Synergies aims to support research-based programs, but many of you asked, what do we consider as a program? In the context of Synergies, a program means that several different formats are customized and customized sub-projects can be carried out within different participants. Examples for a format which can constitute a program could, for example, be an event, a fellowship, a creative lab, whereas an example for a collaboration could be that a museum, let's say from Brazil, partners up with a theater from Switzerland, and they develop in the realm of a think tank a series of conversations on socially relevant topics between participants from different artistic and scientific disciplines. Or another example could be that a literature festival from Switzerland and a music festival from Nigeria partner up with a network of universities, and they jointly develop performative exchanges at the intersection of art, science and technology, which flows then into the festival program. Of course, many more options are thinkable. These are just 2 examples that could be possible. Then when developing the program, keep in mind to open a significant part of the programs to the public. Otherwise, we cannot support it. This doesn't mean that the whole program needs to be open to the public, but significant components have to be open. For example, the program could be connected to a public event or a public online presence. Another option could be the showcasing or the presentation of work in process could be public, or there could be public discussions. And we also received a lot of questions regarding the finances. Please, the next slide. So many of you asked questions related to the grant receivement. A frequently asked question was, how will the total amount of funding be issued between the collaboration partners? And will Pro Helvetia distribute the amount directly to the different collaboration partners or not. The distribution of the total amount will be according to the financial plan made by the collaboration partners of the collaboration. If your program gets selected, the funding is issued to the main applicant, which is then responsible for the distribution of the grant within the collaboration partners. Whether the main applicant is a partner from Switzerland or from another country, this is totally up to you. Then another frequently asked questions were related to the content of project costs. Here I would like to refer to the outline of the call. Just 2 facts which I will highlight. First, we frequently got asked if salaries are considered as project costs. Pro Helvetia cannot support infrastructural costs, what means that salaries from people working inside the organization are not considered as project costs. However, mandates for external people, for example, curators or experts, are considered as project costs, and Pro Helvetia can cover it. Secondly, also consider as project costs are costs for conceptualizations or costs related to make your program as ecological sustainable than possible if you wish. For example, by including expert advice for emission reduction, environmentally compatible alternatives, or also CO2 compensation and so on. Then many of you wanted to know if there is a possibility for a follow-up funding through Synergies once a program got selected. Unfortunately, there is no possibility for a follow-up funding through Synergies. However, if your program gets selected from the jury and you would still like to develop the collaboration once the program has ended, you would need to submit a new proposal through other funding channels. Some of you also wanted to know if projects which are already funded by Pro Helvetia can be supported through Synergies. In general, projects which are already receiving funding from Pro Helvetia are excluded. However, if an existing program gets developed in a new way, for example, by creating new collaborations or expanding the program to new fields, adding new collaboration partners, bringing in components to the existing programs which are distinguishable to the original already supported program, then it is possible. What is not possible is that Pro Helvetia supports 2 times the exact same program. This is not possible. And with this, I would like to close the section of the most frequently asked questions related to the finances, and I hand over to Ariane to present you the Art, Science and Technology Directory. Please, Ariane.
I'm just waiting for you to mute quickly. Thank you. Thank you very much, Leonie. So many questions prior to this event have been asking us, how can you find appropriate collaboration partners in Switzerland, but also abroad? And for this purpose, we have recently launched the Art, Science and Technology Directory. That's an online platform which lists many organizations that already work at this intersection. We have a very short intro video. If you have not yet stumbled upon it, we invite you to test it. There are very different filters that you can experiment with. Here you can see there are like bubbles, artistic disciplines, science and technology filters, filters by world region. So we invite you to play with it, experiment with it. And of course, in the end, on the right, in this yellow column, you can also download your customized list of organizations. And then I would like to add only a few details to this tool. This is on the next slide. First, the data from this platform comes from analysis that we have carried out in different local contexts, and they were also carried out by different local experts. So the directory does not claim to be complete. If you find your organization missing, you are very welcome to contact us. The first update of the platform will happen in May of this year. Second thing, this is a possible tool to help you find partners, but your partners do not have to be in the directorate. You can partner up with organizations that are not in this directorate. We also do not have a preference for organization within the directorate. And also some partners that are in the directorate actually already have an ongoing partnership with Pro Helvetia and are therefore not eligible. For example, Arts at CERN. But our partners know about this and will also inform you. Pro Helvetia itself is also not eligible as a collaboration partner because we fund the projects. And lastly, there will sadly be no matchmaking event held by us for this open call. So we invite you to use the directory, but also make use of your existing networks and maybe also do further research. Additionally, you will also receive the list of all participants that are in this info event and in the info event of this afternoon, which agreed to share their contact information. And now going to the next slide. As we have mentioned before, we're very happy to be joined from some colleagues from our offices abroad. They were also very much involved in conceptualizing and launching this call and will also be part of the evaluation process of the proposed programs. So to some of our colleagues which are here today, I would like to invite to say a few words, starting with our colleagues from the Arab region, from the office in Cairo, Dalia and Malak. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Ariane. Hello, everyone. Can we go to the next slide, please? So in the Arab region, our office covers 19 countries in the region. The art, science, and technology landscape analysis came up with 51 organizations and collectives from the region that were included in the directory. But as Ariane said, there are many more that were not included. Not included for different reasons, because it was a bit of a challenge to find some organizations because of how organizations and artists document their work. It's not always using the same jargon. Whether do they identify as focused on art, science, and technology or not. So please feel free to look for others. Also, we did not include individuals, and we are aware of individuals' interest and effort in the field. What we concluded is that there is much more work in the region focusing on the intersection of arts and technology, much more than arts, science, and technology, or arts and science. That being said, we could say that the key focus themes in our region are ecology, heritage, land and agriculture, and environment, in addition to other aspects of social sciences, of course. I will share with you some examples from projects that are focused on art, science, and technology. The first would be Cairotronica, which is a biannual festival focusing on, still the previous slide, please. Thank you. So Cairotronica is a biannual arts festival focusing on electronic and new media. It showcases the work of artists and artists working, focusing on different topics, very often resulting from their encounter with scientists or their own personal research in different scientific issues related to fungus or food or medicine or biology or anything. It happens in Cairo, and it's an international platform open for artists from all over the world and from Egypt, of course. Next slide, please. The second example we have is Sakia from Palestine.
So Sakya is more of an informal academy for experimental knowledge production. It mainly focuses and combines traditional agriculture with contemporary arts and ecology. Their main focus is arts, science, and agriculture. They have core programs like, for example, food production. They have exhibitions, symposium, residencies, and workshops. And the example that we have here in display is the result of one of the residencies, which is artist Yara Bamia, who really worked a lot on extracting ink from berries and branches and dirt, and then taking people in the community on walks to share the experience with her, and then use the ink into presenting the surrounding. Another example, please, the next slide, is from Morocco, and that is Qanat Collective. Qanat literally means channel. And they have different programs. They work mainly in Marrakesh, and it's a platform that focuses or is interested mostly on the politics and the poetics of water. They organize talks and workshops and performances. The collective is mainly comprising artists, cultural activists, practitioners, and researchers. So these are some examples of organizations or activities. They work differently. They have different focuses, mostly related to their contexts and the main topics of concerns, whether water, land, or heritage, or more. And we would gladly assist you if you need any help to identify other partners or to share ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And next up, from the office in New Delhi, which covers the region of India and South Asia, we have Akshay and Aman here.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot, and thanks for your patience. I just wanted to mention, we actually, India has, which is where we are based, so we are active in the South Asian region in about 9 countries in total. In the directory, though, you'll see mostly, as of now, partners in India that we have worked with, because that's been the scope of our kind of research within art, science, and technology, which doesn't mean that partners from other regions, other countries in the region are not welcome. As it was mentioned in the beginning, if you are not on the list, please do get in touch with the relevant colleague or even the office in New Delhi. India's kind of had a good history of actually using this intersection quite for a while now. Arts organizations, whether it was Khoj, which has held residencies and projects at this intersection, or ISRO in Bangalore, just to name a few, have been very active in already exploring this intersection. There are also several artists who are quite at the forefront globally at using art, science, and technology as a practice medium. Lately, we've had the Science Gallery, which opened in Bangalore, which is doing some very exciting projects. So all in all, I think also given the history of science in India, which is not just science as we understand in a kind of a Western context, and that's also an interesting area to explore, you know, indigenous knowledges and how science is understood in life systems beyond, you know, the academia. So I encourage everybody to also kind of push a little bit in that direction. I do not have a very big presentation prepared, but we are very happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Akshay. So next we have the liaison office in Shanghai for the Greater China region, with Lucy and Sophie here today with us.
Hello, Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Sophie from Helvetia Shanghai. I'm the project manager there. I would like to, can you, for the next slide? Thank you. So I would like to share with you a little bit like information about the AST landscape in Greater China region. First of all, like I would admit that the history of AST in China is not, in mainland China is not that long. Back to 2017, the term science tech art only emerged in China, and it quickly prevailed. At that time, like all the focus is on the media art or the new media art. So it has a very solid foundation of that. And here you can see on my slide, I listed some like topics related to local interest for now. For example, the general computational based practices, such as generative art, interactive art, and robotic art, these are all very well developed now. And also we have like special focus on cutting edge computer or network technologies, let's say artificial intelligence, immersive art, like VR, AR, or virtual producing, as well as blockchain. Besides these computer-related topics, we also have special like focus, like interest in biotechnology, space exploration, quantum computing, environmental science, ecology, and oceanography, such kind of subjects. And then I would like to share with you the examples of different types of institutions in China. We have like tech companies with supporting programs in AST area. For example, Tencent. It is a very giant internet company, and it supports with a very special independent, like focus on the independent game development. And TikTok, as you may know, recently they work very well with local museums to show and support media art exhibitions. And we also have some institutions with subsector or interest in AST. For example, there is a C Lab located in Taiwan. They have a very professional sound lab that supports transdisciplinary projects. And like the most important part of those actors is the arts and the cultural institution dedicated in AST. In China, we have Kronos Art Center. It already operates for 10 years. And in Taipei, there is a digital art center who have a like digital arts festival each year. And in Hong Kong, there is an independent arts institution called Video Touch. They have already run for 30 years in this subject. And then we have like universities such as the schools of creative media at City University of Hong Kong, and as well as China Academy of Art. And we also have like those independent AST platforms and studios, for example, Output and Manna, who mediate between the commercial demands and the creators. The last but not the least, we have research institutions with special interest in AST. For example, the Center for Brain Science and Intelligence Technology, as well as the National Institution of Biological Science. They are welcoming artists to visit their lab. Also, one of them are like thinking about to have a residency program or even have an exhibition each year. So from our perspective, we are looking forward to different types of projects. For example, the projects with long-term strategy and platforms that may connect China and international AST partners. And we also welcome those projects operate in between that with like certain sense of autonomy to mediate the common interest in all stakeholders. And those projects that focus on theory, translation, or the local field research work is welcome too. And we especially like those experiments that can incubate AST projects. So if you have any idea or interested in communicating with local partners, you're welcome to contact me. And we will update the dictionary like as we receive the new information. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Sophie. Thank you. So next from the office in Moscow for the region of Russia, Anton, please.
Yeah, hello everyone. So pleased to see a nice company. Well, eventually a few words should be said in regard to the very specific socio-political economical context in which Pro Helvetia operates in Russia. I'm the head of Moscow office, and Moscow office covers the territory of the Russian Federation. And we are in a very specific situation right now for the reason that everyone knows. The office is open, it keeps operating, but we should definitely adapt. What should be said in this regard that the culture stays in the core and in the center of our attention, but several aspects of our mandate and of our program should have been revisited, reevaluated to be relevant to the current situation. And we published all the information about the Moscow office and the program in Russia on the channels of Pro Helvetia, so you can easily refer. What is important to mention eventually here in this context, in the context of open call, is that the priorities and focuses of Moscow office is directed to the professional exchange formats. In this regard, Synergies open call is extremely relevant because it involves cooperation of peer institutions and peer organization. And I will comment about the organization in Russian context lately on development on common project. So it's good that cooperation may be happening among Swiss and Russian partners in the field of art, science, and technologies in the framework of this open call. The program of Moscow office is built around these exchange formats like, workshop, process-based, durational formats. And our partners are immensely experimenting in this field. So our partners in Russia knows how to make these development and process-based projects together with the international partners. So come along. For the promotional, like really public side of the program, what is important to say that we don't support as an office the public event on the territory of Russian Federation, which is relevant to this open call because the program should include public presentation, but the proposal may include the presentation in Switzerland. And what is even more interesting for us is digital formats of the presentation of your program, so that the program is available to Russian-speaking audience and to be accessible on the territory of Russian Federation. So please propose this type of these elements in your proposal. Also important to mention in regard to this open call that we are focusing on cooperating and supporting the independent practitioners in Russia. This is maybe relevant to art, science, and technology because many of the organizations are funded by the state in this field, in this science. But again, as I told, we are experts in our partnership base in Russia, so we know who may be interested in cooperation. And the openness of this call is relevant, as my colleagues in Zurich said. The organization in Russia doesn't mean necessarily like legally established entity. It may be a collective of independent artists and practitioners. Yeah, and as I told, I will be the main contact for this open call in Moscow office, but I have a nice team of people specializing in different disciplines. So depending on what the art is involved in your proposal, we can rely on our knowledge in partners in music, visual arts, performance, and whatever. So what is important to say, and it is quite actually stressed by our current partners, that the team of Moscow office is fulfilling an important task of moderating between partners in Switzerland and in Russia. So this is ongoing process in which the team in Moscow is very closely involved. So if you have any interests or any specific topic relating to Russia, please come to us, discuss that, and we will try to find out a relevant partner from the Russian side. And vice versa for the Russian people interested from Russia, please come to discuss on any stage of development of your ideas, and we will try to help in establishing the relationships. And again, as I told in the beginning, we take these adaptations as possibilities. Our partners are experimenting, we are experimenting in the formats and in the way how we make projects. And I find that Russia and Russian territory may be a relevant, how to say, field for developing art and science project. So please contact me.
Thank you very much, Anton. So next from the office in Johannesburg, that's Campire. I invite you to say a few words. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me. My name is Campire. I'm representing the Johannesburg office of Pro Helvetia this morning. Pro Helvetia Johannesburg is responsible for almost all the countries in sub-Saharan Africa. I have colleagues who are not here with me today, but they're based in Lagos, Nigeria, in South Africa as well. Myself, I represent East Africa, and I'm currently in Kampala, Uganda. In terms of this call, a couple of best practices from our region. Some of the ways in which we've, I guess, dipped our toes in this kind of collaboration between the arts and the sciences. In 2021, we had an exhibition called Interfacing New Heavens, which was a public interface of a collaborative project that first began in 2018 when 2 artists were selected to take part in our 3-month Artist in Labs residency. So Vanessa Lorenzo, who's a Swiss artist, did a residency at the South African Astronomical Observatory in Cape Town. And George Mahashe did a residency at the Astronomy Department at the University of Geneva. Both artists had an immersive exchange with astronomers and had access to their research infrastructures, their databases and methodologies, and through their own practice in a transdisciplinary exchange emerged, which was first exhibited in 2021, but the relationships between these artists and the institutions that participated continue, including through the Connect residency, which Leonie spoke about earlier. I think some areas of interest for institutions and artists and individuals that are based in our region. One would be the issue of indigenous knowledge. I think one cool thing about this call is that it does not leave out the issues of indigenous knowledge and considers that a science as well. I think my colleagues from South America might say a little bit more about that. I think something else to keep in mind is the funding landscape in the African continent. A lot of organizations, institutions, even academic organizations and universities have a dearth of access to funding. And so we'd expect that organizations from the rest of the world that are interested in engaging with this context would have an understanding about what it means to have an equitable exchange with institutions on the African continent. So we're very excited to see what comes out of this call and to hear all the interesting applications and collaborations that will come out of it. And I hope I'll be hearing from you and reading some proposals from some of the people in this room today. So thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Campire. And next, we also have colleagues from the South America office here. We have Angie and Joao joining, and I leave you the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariane. Hello, everybody. I am Angie Vial. I am the head of the South America Liaison Office. A little bit about the Liaison Office is that we are a decentralized structure, meaning that we have a presence in Bogota, in Buenos Aires, in Sao Paulo, in La Paz, and in Santiago, where I am based. But we support projects in the whole South America region. Our program is interdisciplinary by nature, and we try to connect and involve partners from different parts of the continent, trying to do networking as well. And our practice is pretty much multi and transdisciplinary. Joao, you could also say hi.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for attending the info event. I am the program manager responsible for Brazil. So the dialogues between Swiss institutions, platforms, artists, and Brazilian ones. And I'm based in São Paulo.
So maybe we could go to the slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to contextualize a little bit about AST in South America, which is something that we did with the landscape analysis of art, science, and technology in the region, where we could understand that the scenario of art, science, and technology is an emerging field, and it is a practice that integrates different forms of very much localized territorial knowledge, methods, and approaches. It is a context where few established transnational relations are set. So this is a call that is pretty much interesting because of that. And that it is a context where it is critically viewed the reproduction of dominant disciplinary models in detriment of local particularities of knowledge creation. The region has a greater understanding of other epistemologies, diasporic, syncretic, and native. And there is an understanding of this knowledge as an equal as all the other knowledges of the Western and colonial processes. Next slide, please.
So we thought about putting a focus here on the Amazon region because of its relevancy to the environmental and ecological debate. So the first thing that we should consider when talking about the Amazon region is that it is not a unified region. It goes through 7 countries in our region in South America. And beyond that, although we are used to see that that green carpet from above, Amazonia has many different cultures living inside the forest. Not only indigenous one, but but also a lot of in big cities also in the Amazon region. So the first thing is to consider this internal view of Amazonia, to think Amazonia, to learn with Amazonia from territory, the soil, and the indigenous knowledge that has been there, and also the biome, the nature that has been evolving for more than 400 million years, even before the ideas of countries that we have today. And it's important also to consider the complex reality of the Amazon region. We are used to refer to it as the mother of an immense biome and diversity, but it's also the context of many extractions, not only in the environmental side, but also in the cultural and scientific side. In the last government of Brazil, we had a mass destruction of the territory impacting indigenous communities. And just as relevant may be data, to put it in scale, just in the last 4 years, an area equivalent to the size of Switzerland was deforested from the Amazon. So it's also, we are talking about climate crisis when we are talking about the Amazon, but we are also talking about extinctions. So this is the environment to discuss also, not only narratives of ecology, art, and everything, but of futures and of past, through past, the past, maybe see the future. So this is a little bit of the ecological, of the context of Amazonia.
Next slide, please. We wanted to share also a little bit these concepts called Gambiarra, Hechizo, or technologies or technophagy, which are very much relevant in our context. We could say that the necessity is the mother of invention. So we understand technology here in our context as a craft, also, and a tradition where you can spontaneously arrange something and fix it. And not necessarily we are talking about technologies that are impacting or that are pretty much funded with a lot of resources. So also it's important to understand that in the region we identified that the hard science are not the only science. We have a pretty much close appreciation to the human science and the development of social technologies. So we have an expanded understanding of what technology is and what science is. We wanted to share with you a project that we have been developing for the last 2 years. With the next slide, we can share the name of the project. It's called Fungi Cosmology. And it's a research project where a group of curators, artists, and scientists, mycologists, are researching in 3 territories fungi and understanding or trying to understand how fungi can teach us new ways to live in the world. Next slide, please.
So the idea is really to dive into the unknown realm of the fungi, because the estimative is that we only know about 4 or 5% of fungi species living in the world today. And there is the wish with this project to go into the unknown together with art and science operating as equals in this project, both extending to each other their way of practicing, of gathering information, and also of imagining how to deal with that information. So the fungi cosmology just started and ended its first stage in Amazonia just last week. and then it will go to Patagonia to also research the local context there, and then to Switzerland with our partner that I can see it's also here, Margot, representing Food Culture Days. And as Angie already said, it's for us, it's a very special project also because it can teach us, we can learn from the fungi kingdom, how to be together, how to be collective in this planetary scale today.
And for us, it's a very interesting way of understanding how art, science, and technology can be in a project, not just go into the hard science, but also into this type of other research. So as an example of possibilities for how art, science, and technology can create new knowledges for the future. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much to the two of you as well. Thanks for joining. Thank you to all that have been listening up till now.